Really appreciate you all tuning in for our happy hour. So hopefully y'all have a beverage and some snacks. We've been doing this over the last few months, actually ever since February. And so we thought we'd just kind of open it up. Now, the great thing about COVID, there's many bad things, but one of the great things is that we can all come together, especially in Southeast Asia, one place where our special guest tonight, my partner Sean, doesn't always get to visit. And so I'm just going to do a really brief introduction to who we are and what we do. And then what we're going to do is hear from some of our portfolio companies who just spent the last week in a grueling Geeks on a Trip session where we did 26 meetings across Vietnam and Indonesia without ever having to leave our homes. Plus we had an amazing VC virtual dinner last night. Again, my name is Wayne Bean. I'm a general partner at SOSV. I and my partner Oscar run internet and software investments globally. We're a fund with 740 million under management. We just completed our 1,000th investment. 1,000 portfolio companies, investing in 150 new companies each year. And this is across verticals from hardware to biotech to food tech and ag tech. But tonight we're focused on internet and software. Now, the major challenge that startups have in internet these days, especially consumer internet, is that they can't get users without spending more money than they make. So if you go to Indonesia and you go on Xiaomi and you say, okay, I want to buy a user, costs 60 cents US to get a download and somebody to open it up once. And that's actually the market price. Now, you get a discount, but that's the market price. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, assuming you're the best app in the history of the world and 10% of those users stick with you forever, that means you're paying $6 US a user in Indonesia. And unless you're selling something you probably shouldn't be selling, very few companies will be making $6 US a user in Indonesia. So what we decided to do is take the traditional business model where you raise money and then you buy ads and then you get users and you try and make a profit. And we threw that out the window. We decided to cheat. And the way we cheat is we partner with companies who are under pressure. And who are they under pressure from? Google, Facebook, sometimes Amazon, Tencent, Alibaba. Everybody is under pressure from the large internet companies. So shopping malls, real estate, banks, telcos, newspapers, media companies, they're all under pressure from the big internet companies. Alibaba, their goal in life is to be the #1 financial services company in the world. If you're a bank, that's not a good thing. So we partner with these companies like banks, like handset brands. And what do? We bring the best of the best entrepreneurs from around the world and we partner. So our companies get users and our partners get revenue share. So it's a win for our partners like the banks and the telcos. It's a win for the startups because they're getting user acquisition without having to pay upfront for it. And they get profitable user acquisition. And the only people that lose are Google, Facebook, and Ali and Tencent. So we just spent an amazing week virtually traveling through Vietnam and Indonesia to meet with all of our partners, some great partners. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to some of our portfolio companies. They're going to give a quick pitch, and then we're going to have an awesome interview with our founding managing partner, Chinaccelerator. So, Nam and Navin, back to you.
we're going to kick off with a round of short pitches from each of our participating companies. I've just shared the lineup over here with all of you. Fendi, let's start off with Giladiskon.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Very nice meeting you all online tonight. So again, my name is Fandi. I'm from Indonesia, and my company is called Giladiskon. So restaurant and retail marketing is broken. Restaurant and retailers, they pay for Facebook and Google ads, but they have no idea if they're getting anything back. Our company is Giladiskon. It's a B2B2C social commerce company, and we help restaurants and retailers in Indonesia by promoting them to our 1.5 million members as a subscription product. In the past 12 months, we have partnered with over 500 restaurants and retailers, from family-owned shops all the way to KFC, and driven them $400,000 in revenue. If you want to know more about how we do this and remain profitable, let's catch up for a meeting after this. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taru. I'm from Colombia, based in Singapore. We are Goama, and our gaming platform helps super apps, telcos, and any digital company with users become a gaming powerhouse. Our partners can easily integrate our systems into their platform and offer games tournaments where players can play, compare scores, and leaderboards to compete for prizes. This allows our partners to increase their top line and decrease their cost of acquisition. We are at the moment powering games for super apps like Rappi in Latin America, Foodpanda, Boost, Wave, Patal, Bcash, ClickBus, and we have in excess of 800,000 monthly active users and more than 16 million gameplays a month. If you're interested in knowing how we can help you become a gaming super app, I'll be willing to talk to you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Arini from Moodah. There are 51 million small medium businesses in Indonesia that are still running their business with pen and paper. We are Moodah, a SaaS platform helping digitize mom and pop businesses, enabling them to track their daily account. It's similar to bookkeeping. We can even make use of this information to enable them to get a loan. We've recorded more than 500K US dollar transactions in the last 3 weeks, and we had 13% of weekly user growth rate. We partner with the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and the biggest Muslim organization in Indonesia, NU, which will introduce us to 30,000 SMBs. So if you are interested in helping tech enable Indonesia's family-run businesses, let's set up a time to chat. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So the traditional retail industry is suffering, while customers are becoming more sophisticated with their life and style choices. And that is why we are here. We are Yuna&co, and we are revolutionizing the way retail industry works in Indonesia and democratizing personal stylists by becoming the first styling platform in the region. We provide millennials and professionals their own stylists to give them the right fit, fashion, and lifestyle recommendations every month based on their preferences from selected brand partners, all powered by machine learning for scalability. We have now over 39,000 female members in our platform, where 90% of them highly recommend our service. During COVID-19, we have signed over 30 new brand partners and also became the styling partner of some of the biggest female fashion media in Indonesia. If you want to know more about how we're doing this, contact me and we'll talk more. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Mukesh from Phable. I'm co-founder at Phable. Over 2 billion chronic disease patients worldwide have very poor adherence to treatment plan. In addition, there is no single solution that provides for all doctor needs or patient care needs. This leads to poor health outcomes for patients. Phable SaaS offerings and super apps connects doctors and patients in a continuous feedback loop. This drives adherence to treatment plan and leads to better health outcomes. Phable has saved over 100 lives in last 18 months. Phable is hyperscaling with 1,000 plus doctors and 80,000 plus patients and generates a GMV of $150,000 per month. We are currently operating in India and would be expanding to Southeast Asia with our partnerships in South Korea and Myanmar. Our engineering team has already started working in Batam, Indonesia. We are a Singapore-based company and are currently raising our Series A. If you're interested in our story, please join us for a chat next week. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Swaroop here from Pencil. As you possibly know, YouTube and Instagram have revolutionized the user-generated content industry by not only simplifying distribution, but also enabling content creators to understand how content consumption happens and how to improve it. But take a moment and think about the book publishing industry. It is stuck where it was 600 years back, where possibly the printing press came into picture. Authors yet don't have any clue of how readers read their books, which ensures that they cannot improve their products once they get to understand that. We at Pencil enable authors to understand how readers consume books by giving them consumer data and analytics. We enable them to improve the products on the go with dynamic edits and sell the improvised versions worldwide in ebook and paperback format. We have 1,200 IPs already on platform. For performing IPs, we further monetize them by licensing it to various publishers in Southeast Asia and globally. We sell those IPs as stories to OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. If you'd like to know how we are bringing in technology to the book publishing industry, I'd love to have a chat with you next week. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Kusham from Supplynote. Purchase and supply chain for restaurants and retail grocery stores around the world is broken, with orders on paper or over the phone and as many as 5 middlemen. For the millions of these businesses in India and Southeast Asia, this means low margins, barrier to expansion, and difficulty getting a load. We are Supplynote, and our cloud-based purchasing and supply chain platform helps businesses track inventory, reduce order time, pay lower price, and get short-term loans. We have already automated supply chains of 1,200 plus businesses across 29 cities in India, and our customers are already seeing an increase in their profit margins by 70%. I would love to share more how our technology is helping the food service industry. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kirill from TabTrader, and we help regular people make money trading cryptocurrencies. Crypto is fragmented with hundreds of exchanges. Most crypto traders have accounts on a few of them. With the TabTrader app, they can aggregate all of their accounts onto a single mobile interface. TabTrader is the most popular crypto trading app in the world with 400,000 users, which is 5 times more than our closest competitor. Asia is our second most active geo. Vietnam is our second most active country, and we are top 20 financial app there. We are bootstrapped, profitable, and are expanding to Asia. I would be happy to share more. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kevin from Biggo. Biggo is ultimate shopping solution for consumers to know their option. Thanks for KKI's searching technology, we are enable our users to searching e-commerce product in global scale. Beyond that, we are even saving every price and every inventory at every moment. This actually makes us a different dimension of price comparison. We launched in Biggo 3 years ago. Nowadays, we have 15 million unique users per month. Biggo is a top 30 most visited website in Taiwan and top 82 in Thailand. Last month, we are launching in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, India, Italy, and Japan. We are already successful reaching 8 countries in different time zone and language. We are actually doing the Series A fundraising. If you are interested to following up and changing the shopping behavior all around the world, please contact us after the meeting. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lex. I'm founder and CEO of MotionsCloud. Every year, insurance companies spend over $30 billion on processing home and car insurance claims. It is slow, labor-intensive, and expensive operations. We are MotionsCloud, an insurtech company. We help home and car insurance companies to automate claim processes. MotionsCloud using computer vision technology to evaluate damages based on pictures and make claim settlement in 3 hours instead of 3 weeks. Today, we have signed 12 clients in the US, in Europe, and in Southeast Asia with big names like General Lee and Mercedes-Benz company Daimler. In Southeast Asia, we're already serving several clients, and that's why we are here. We are looking for investor and partner to join our current investment round to support our expansion in the Southeast Asia region. We have over 50% of the fund already committed. I'd love to share more about MotionsCloud with you. Please get in touch with me after this. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Rickson from Tourplus. COVID-19 makes future travelers too afraid to travel in a group tour. And to reduce risk, more and more people will choose to travel in a private tour. This is where Tourplus comes in. Tourplus is a platform to connect travelers with local guides using mobile app. We provide a platform with transparent information, secure communication, and safety travel to both local guides and travelers, allow them to communicate and arrange private tour in a private car with a COVID-free personal guide and driver. We believe in the future, driver guide will be the key asset in the tourism industry, which allow us to capture offline tourism data that can be used to analyze tourist spending behavior. Currently, we have over 3,000 local guides across Southeast Asia, and we are looking for local partners to expand our market. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is James. My company is Pinjamwinwin. We are based in Indonesia. You know, more than half of our population is financially underserved, especially in tier 2 and 3 cities. We solve this in 2 ways. First, we give microloans to the credit invisibles, millennial smart home users. Second, our tech also help banks and financial institutions like lenders with preventing fraud, finding missing borrowers in 1 day instead of 30 days at no fixed cost, which is not possible with current infrastructure. We are unique because our technology is the first to create an end-to-end ecosystem from underwriting to collection. So we have a network of thousands of agents that can reach and meet each one of our borrowers. This ensures timely repayments, it prevents defaults, even collecting overdues when necessary, while also doing grassroots marketing. We also have full financial lending license. If you're interested in the financial revolution, I'm excited to share with you our story. Please come find me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. That concludes our founder pitches. William, over to you.
Awesome. So thanks a lot. We're having a great time spread all around the world. One of the challenges about being a global investor is that we're working with companies that are not necessarily in the same time zone as us. Actually, they're not in the same time zone as with each other. And so we've learned a lot through that. And during this tough time, the last few months, that's really come through. So the last batch that we did of our enterprise program, Chinaccelerator, we had people in 22 different cities, 8 time zones around the world. So pretty crazy. One of the benefits, though, is that we get to pull in speakers that you wouldn't normally get to hang out with on a Friday night and his Thursday morning. So I'm very proud and happy to have Sean O'Sullivan join us as a speaker tonight, or victim tonight. We're going to do a fireside chat. So Sean, you're in the same screen. All I can see is myself.
Yeah,
so you ready to go?
I'm here. I'm ready to go, man. And it's a great honor to be among so many hardworking entrepreneurs from all over the world, and of course, the Chinaccelerator and Mox teams who are helping all this become possible. So thank you, William, for all the work you do.
Oh, yeah, I've got it easy. I was a CEO once. I was pretty shit at it. So the next time I did a startup, I was a co-founder. Not very good co-founder either. So I went back to VC. I do a lot less damage giving other people money than actually trying to spend it myself. So we're focused on Southeast Asia. Can you, maybe share a little bit about what is the first time that you visited Southeast Asia or South Asia? Did you go on a dream vision journey through India or Pakistan in your youth, or have you spent time in Southeast Asia?
My first time through Southeast Asia, I'd actually been running a multinational company called MapInfo, where we invented a thing where you type an address into a computer and see a street map. And so we actually had divisions all over the world, and I never made it to Asia through that time, just because it wasn't that much revenue relative to Europe and the US and other parts of the world we were trading in at the time I was running the company. And so it took me another 5 years or so to get to Asia. After my company went public, I went and did some other things. I went to the music industry. I went to the film industry. But before I went to the film industry, I took a cruise around the world called Semester at Sea. So it's a college course where you spend a week in each port of what were mostly, developing countries like Vietnam or Brazil or just a variety of different countries, South Africa, Kenya, China, Japan, Indonesia, basically 14 different countries. And India, did I say India? So it was a really eye-opening tour of what the rest of the world lived like and what was all possible. So it was my first introduction to China as well. And when I went to China, it was 1998. So there was really not that, you go into Beijing in 1998, a skyscraper is like an 8-story building, back then, in my memory. And so it was a very different time in China, in particular, mainland China. Hong Kong felt very similar to the way Hong Kong feels now, but yeah, it was a different time then.
Sounds good. So in terms of what you're investing in now versus what you invested back in the day. So, you lead our fund and you basically took paper maps and you're the first person to put them into software so that people can figure out where they're going without actually using a paper map. Now, traditionally, back in the day, you did a lot of internet investments in the US and North America. Now, almost all of our investments that we're doing in internet are in Asia, or at least focused on Asia, and not Japan, not Korea, but India, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, South Asia. So what are, you come out and visit us and meet all of our portfolio companies. What have you noticed? What are the big differences between the young guns that you used to invest in back in the day and our entrepreneurs in this generation of SOSV?
Well, when I first started investing, it was really a very long time ago. My first company had gone public in 1994. So the internet was not, really popularized until several years after that. So the internet, the big difference between when I started investing and, the last 15 years has been that when you create a technology now, you're like instantly international. Like, you release a product on the internet and you've got users in 30 countries in a lot of cases. So or 50 or 100 countries. And you have to also compete on that broader scale. Instead of just being the best in your country, a lot of times, or the best in your state, you have to be the best in the world. So that level of differentiation leads to a lot of optimization, a lot of verticalization. People have very specialized applications which are appealing to maybe a small percentage of people in a given country. But, like, for example, you talked about one of the people on the panel tonight, TabTrader, was talking about cryptocurrency trading. Actually, that's a very international business, right? So, and there's not that many people in a given household that would use crypto trading, or even in a given town. But when you add up all the, hundreds of thousands of people that do it worldwide, it's a very interesting business, and it's a business which you need to optimize, and you need to be the best in the world at it if you're going to be successful, because you have to compete against everyone else from every other geography. So, so even though we're investing heavily in Southeast Asia, as you know, William, we have loads of companies that are coming from all over the world to compete in Southeast Asia, and to compete in, in countries that are in the rest of Asia, like Korea or other sort of focus areas. So I'd say that the internationalization issues are always a big factor. The fact that everyone on this call is speaking English makes it much easier for someone like me, who I only speak 2.5 languages. It's very, it allows the reach, that international reach for everyone to be able to speak every other one's language through that. So yeah, so I'd have to say, like, the areas of e-commerce that are successful, you can build a really big e-commerce company by this specialization. This is an area that we continually mine, by content specialization, all the software that focuses on everything from mindfulness to cartoons, or anything else. We have just a tremendous variety of countries that are, or companies that are very appealing to vertical needs.
So when I first met you, you're getting ready for our third fund. And the funny thing is that in order to make our third fund possible, you had to actually cornerstone the fund. That means put your own money into the fund. Not only that, but 2/3 of the money in our last fund, our third fund, was your money. Now, in order to do that, you had to sell some shares in some companies, and I think you had a couple of stocks, but one of them, and this might be rumor, it might be true, but you invested in Netflix. You bought 2% of Netflix in the open market, and and then so I look at stock charts. I think it's public. It might not be public, so excuse me if I just disclose something. But that went to $150 billion in market cap, which meant that your 2% would be worth $3 billion. And instead, you sold Netflix and decided to invest in the people on the screen. Why the hell did you do that?
Yeah, so I was, I think, probably the largest individual non-institutional shareholder in Netflix, but that was for a very long time, even before they became quite so huge. I had invested in them when they were still just doing the red envelope, mailing DVDs around. I started investing in them at that point, and obviously they've done spectacularly well. Now, if I'd held on to every position that I ever had, and you know, William, you know, there's a lot of positions that you covered as the leading stock analyst in Southeast Asia, or in China. So but you know, if you held on to everything, you'll have a lot of regrets about what you sold along the way. But I sold you know, positions that would be worth many billions of dollars across a number of different firms along the way, because I got in early and had a decent position. I've done well with it. I've given a lot of money away and to different charities. And I'm very proud of all the things that we've started.
You did
through that.
Money away to our teams here, or like so why did you do SOSV? Like why did you you basically sell the
well actually, so you know, as you indicated, I for SOSV3 I put in 100 million of the fund personally, and I continue to be a major backer for all the SOSV funds, you know, that come out. It is my main area of, you know, financial investment, is to invest in the companies that are coming through SOSV. And I know that you have most of your net worth tied into the companies that are coming through Chinaccelerator and Mox. So I think that's a good way to have alignments about what you're trying to do with your life. In terms of why I would invest in startups, I actually found that even when my first company went public, you know, and I was 28 years old, it actually roiled my stomach to watch, you know, and I came from poverty. You know, I was born into, you know, I grew up in poverty in the United States and the welfare system, because I had a deadbeat dad and 9 brothers and sisters, all the same mom, same dad, but the dad sort of abandoned the family. And so that made me very conscious of the value of a working day and of a dollar. And so when my company went public, MapInfo, you know, I would see the stock go up in the morning. You know, I'd be up $3 million and I'd be down $4 million or $6 million in the afternoon. And it was just absolutely, you know, really roiling thing. I actually prefer a longer term perspective. And so I tend not to look at the value of the stock market on any given day. And I look at the bigger overall trends and trying to keep track of, okay, will this sector matter? Whether it's Netflix, you know, or Apple, or, you know, traditional companies that I have had large positions in, you know, just looking at them and saying, is this iPod going to matter? Is this iPhone going to matter in 10 years time? And then I hold on for a very long time. So since I'm holding on for a very long time, it makes sense to actually work with startups. We're holding on to companies who are coming from nothing and can, as we've seen, William, we've backed a number of unicorns throughout all the SOSV universe. And that means you're building something from a value, which is just the founder's sweat equity and a little bit of investor cash, to something that's worth a billion or more dollars in those rare exceptions. But even the work that we do, regardless of the money side, the work is rewarding, because you're actually creating something from nothing, and you're providing a change to the world where you're unhappy with the status quo, and you really want to provide, you know, people with the opportunity to make this change, but also you want to see that change happen.
So out here in Southeast Asia, you know, we're using technology to change people's lives, you know, whether it be microfinance or giving people access to education. A lot of time you're spending now, what you're most passionate about, is companies like Sun Genomics and biotech. So I know that you know, this audience is not so much into the crazy biotech stuff because of, you know, how do you make an impact where we are here in Southeast Asia and India might not be about all that. But can you just share a little bit about what you're passionate about now?
Outside of the life sciences,
inside the life science, a lot of time, no, inside of your life sciences. So you're spending, you still get to invest. It's one of the benefits of having your name on the door in your own VC fund is you get to invest.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about what you're passionate about right now in and around the investments that you're doing in life sciences, like
Sure.
or like
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I actually always enjoy learning. I'm always a very curious person. I'm always looking for efficiency in everything. I'm the weird guy who, when I go into the airport and there's a huge line of people sort of packed up or blocking the way, and there's a couple of pylons that are in the way, I'll like sort of rearrange the pylons so that everything gets all organized and everyone gets, in queue just while I'm on my way to get to the, it doesn't take but 3 seconds, and then suddenly things will get organized and more efficient. I love to see efficiency in things. It's weird for me to see waste going on. So I'm curious about making changes towards making things happen efficiently. So when it comes to the things I'm curious about now, it's more about I like to go into deep new dives, and for the last several years I've been reading a couple of books a month on life sciences on gut-brain connection, on genetics, on and really just working with the entrepreneurs that we've been backing in the various areas, like in the future of food and in new types of therapeutics. You're familiar with Sun Genomics, William, I know, because we have oops, you're on mute.
Genomics, because you invested so much of our fund's money in it and took a board seat?
Yeah, I took a board seat. I mean, we don't put that much into one company. We spread it pretty widely, but we have put several $1 million into Sun Genomics, and they just closed like a $10 million round, so they're a company that actually, you look at the health of somebody, it relates a tremendous amount, not just to your own genetics, but to the genetics which are playing in your body. And your gut biome, your digestive system, your gut, has not just your own genes, but the species of about 2,000 different genes, which are creating, small molecules and proteins that affect the operation of your body. Your whole gut operates about 70% of your immune system, for example. And so if you have, a leaky gut, for example, you will actually affect the quality of your entire body and your mental condition and everything else. Those are a lot of related and interrelated issues that are not necessarily well understood. But in order to find out how you're functioning as a human, you have to look at how all of these things are interacting. And so you take a sample of your poop and you can look at what is going on inside your body. There's a very huge difference between one person's gut biome, the biome meaning the collection of microbes that exist in your body, and another. There's maybe a 5% overlap between my gut biome and anyone else's on this call. And so that makes us all very personalized. And so if you want to treat somebody for various health conditions, whether that be autism or, intestinal, IBS, or depression or other, immune related functions, you often have to look at how is their gut functioning. there's many tens of thousands of people that die every year from something called like E. coli infections, where they have a overconcentration of pathogenic microbes. Pathogenic meaning, bad for you, microbes, and it will actually kill you. But if you can modify the microbes in your gut simply by taking probiotics, for example, or having a gut biome transplant, then you can be in one day. You could be in the emergency room, actually in the critical care, on your way to dying, and one day later be healthy, walking around, and completely restored, just simply by changing the microbes in your gut. So I have a son who has autism, and actually a lot of the things that relate to autism relate to the gut biome. And so that was an area that got me interested in the gut biome. And the more that I looked, the more other conditions like autoimmune diseases and whatnot are affected by your gut biome. So all of this is a long, deep dive into Sun Genomics. What Sun Genomics allows you to do is you give them a sample of your poop every 3 months, and then they optimize your gut based off of, providing you with a combination of prebiotics and probiotics specifically tailored for your individual, gut function. And that's an example of a great sort of technical capability that never existed before Sun Genomics came along. They do that personalized probiotic regimen, and it's for $99 a month. Effectively, you have that, you're given pills that are specifically tailored for your gut function and improving your gut function. So there's a number of, for example, athletic teams, sports teams, leading, football teams in the United States, and other sports teams that are really trying to optimize the sports performance, for example, or individuals that are suffering from various diseases, and they're all, loyal customers. And I think, William, you also are a loyal customer of Sun Genomics as well.
I think anybody can hear me though. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
We can hear you now.
Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah. So how is this pitch, guys? I mean, you've been pitched. Usually we do 30 to 60 seconds. I think Sean just went I had timed it. It was 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So are you going to buy his gut pills? Okay. So you can put that in the Q&A section. Yes for gut pills. No for gut pills. I have to say, after almost like 20 plus years in China, I took these things, and for the first time, I felt like I was, a child again. I highly recommend them. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions from the audience, and I'm gonna try. We got one from Ronen, who's always trying to, start some shit. And he basically, I'll just answer this one. He's basically asking, you're doing all this crazy stuff. It takes a long time to make any money. You're talking about skin in the game. So how do you keep the team motivated? I can just tell you, SOSV is like a giant marshmallow test. And if you don't know what the marshmallow test is, go look it up. You can actually watch it on YouTube. It's quite entertaining. And I'm not going to give away the secret, but basically it's about deferred gratification. And so the great thing about us is that we all get paid shit salaries because we're an early stage VC, but everybody here has skin in the game, and that they get a bit of the profit share. And the longer you stay, the longer you wait until you eat that marshmallow, you'll hopefully be surprised pleasantly on what happens. So I'm going to try and combine a couple of these. You've invested in the U.S. You're overseeing our investments in Asia. What are the differences that you've seen between winning entrepreneurs in the U.S. versus winning entrepreneurs in Asia, and how has that changed over time? And then let's see if you can deliver an answer to that in like under 3 minutes, because
we'll keep it tight. I actually don't see that big of a difference in successful entrepreneurs in Asia and in the rest of the world. I think that universally, entrepreneurs are people who are unhappy with the status quo and seek a different world that satisfies a need that they're deeply familiar with, a pain point that they're familiar with. Like people always want to have, who are entrepreneurs are looking to have a disproportionate impact. They don't want to be a cog in the machine. They have a unique vision. They have a mission that relates to an unstoppable need, and then they figure out how to be oriented towards a customer that desperately needs that problem. So they're very focused on being of service to the customers. There's a lot of similarities in great entrepreneurs everywhere. But I think one of the biggest things is just being collaborative, being able to work with not just their senior management team, but with customers and investors in a way that is a win-win game for everyone.
Cool. And then we had one other question from the audience. So there's a VC rule where like anybody who's an entrepreneur who talks about how they're going to exit doesn't get money, right? And on the other hand, you've got a bunch of other VCs that said, if you're not thinking about how you're going to exit, we're not going to give you money. So I know I have my philosophy, but you've started a fair share of your companies. You've exited a couple of your companies. You've had a couple of your companies die underneath you. So how do you think about exits, if you think about them at all?
So I do think it's important to think about exits, but you can wait until you've created something valuable first. If you're not solving a need in the market, if you can't have 100 happy customers, you can't get to 100,000 happy customers. And if you don't have 100,000 customers, or at least 1,000 or 2,000, if it's like big ticket customers, you probably don't have a venture backable business. So like you have to get to the point where you're solving where your customers want to refer you to other customers, where the news wants to write about your company because you're providing a unique value to your user base, and you're solving a pain point for your customers.
Awesome, and I think we're coming to the end here. Last question, because Bruce is hardcore on this one. So can you give us a sense, and I know it's a bit tough because you're always like kind of in and out, but you do meet every single startup that we invest in at least once, if not multiple times. So what's your favorite sectors? If you could give this, Asia, we do mostly hardware and software and internet. What are your favorite sectors? And then do you have a preference for any particular country?
I think, I'll answer the second one first. The very nature of SO, what's that?
Let's just go for city instead of country so we don't get into trouble.
Yeah, no. I don't think I can get in trouble. I believe that, do I have a favorite city I like to visit or something? That's another question. But I believe in investing in humanity all over the world. The best ideas come from everywhere. They don't come from one place. You can see that even in the successful people in the United States. They're not just born in the United States. They're coming from all over, from China or from India or from Ireland or from wherever else. There are so many, I look at, who are the humans that can make this happen? And it doesn't matter what arbitrary nationality you were born under. So we like to back, entrepreneurs from all over the world. That's fundamental to how SOSV operates, over founders from, I think, 110 or 120 countries at least, and with headquarters operations in over I think 60 countries. So we don't let that stop us. I forget what the first question part of that
Ask
question.
it enough. So I think, Bruce, like from our side, it's called cross-border internet, and we do innovation arbitrage. And what does that mean? It's very important that if you've innovated and you're doing something that's completely amazing, revolutionary, changing people's lives for in a better way, changing companies' lives for the best, it shouldn't matter that you were born in like the wrong city or the wrong country. And that's why we take the best of the best from around the world and allow them to go cross-border with our support. So it shouldn't matter. You know, it's like the problem with the US and China and maybe India, they're very large markets. And there's plenty of innovations coming from other places. Okay, and then last one, this is a softball, Sean. So you started MapInfo, allowing people to find their way home using a computer instead of their spider sense, with typing an address in and showing up as a dot on a map. You built that up to 1,000 employees. It did an IPO in '94, I think, 200 million IPO. Exited 96 at 400 million. And then for whatever reason, you started a rock band and went to film school. I don't know what the order was. Did you feel somehow lost, or why did you go from tech into making movie shorts at USC?
Well, I think that we are all, multivariate people. There are things that interest us besides just, perhaps just an element of technology or an element of business. And I think, that multifaceted life is something I think we all should try to enjoy. I had the flexibility of being able to explore other paths. And actually what was interesting was after various travels and after other, having the freedom to go do those things, even when I ran a humanitarian organization, which also employed many thousands of people, 3,000 people, I having set that up in the Middle East, et cetera, I figured out that actually the biggest way to be of service and have a purpose in life is actually to be, again, back in something I knew and knew how to do fairly well, which was helping create technology companies. Because the scale of what you can do in creating a business actually impacts people even more than the things that you could do in government or in charities. Frankly, businesses can employ, as they do, SOSV businesses employ tens of thousands of people and have impact on billions of lives today. And that's only growing. So I look to the change, the impact that you can have in the world. And I figured for me, yes, I explored these other areas. I love filmmaking. I love to watch films, et cetera. I did win awards for my filmmaking, et cetera. But I had a big impact in the various humanitarian organizations I started, et cetera. But the home for me is where I can be leveraging these, leveraging others and the lives, and actually not even leveraging others, but being of service to others and helping them leverage themselves. I think there's an expression, or there's a phrase I'm still noodling on, which is that great leaders are not about creating followers, but about creating other leaders. And that's something we've tried to model at SOSV. And you yourself have done that for the organization at Chinaccelerator and at Mox, and building a cadre of extraordinarily strong leaders around you, empowered leadership that helps the companies, but also it's something that we look to model for all of our companies, helping these people become great leaders themselves, and underneath them bringing the leadership of their teams and their senior management to a place where they can also create other leaders from within. So I think actually we're creating a whole ecosystem of productive humanity that is improving the world in remarkable ways. We have cures for cancer. We have the future of food. We have the robotics and Internet of Things that have been enabled that are really changing billions of lives. And I think that is just the most excitement that you can have, even just to have the chance at doing that. Not all of the startups I've done have succeeded. Most of them have failed. But the fact that several of them have had an impact on the world, that billions of people are using technologies that I originally invented or patented, at least, those things are things that give me some great joy. Even if a company, even if one or more of those companies, I spent 7 years and drove it into a brick wall and lost all my money on it, it's okay, because you have to try. We all have to try the hardest to change the world. It is a fundamental need to have a meaning in life, a purpose in life. So for that, I'm just going to keep trying, and I know everyone at SOSV is committed to helping all of our entrepreneurs succeed in making those efforts to make that difference.
Thanks a lot.
I've noticed that there's a whole bunch of unanswered questions as well that I've just noticed in the chat. I can type in answers, as the rest of this event goes on, I guess.
I think we got most of them. I don't know. Answered too open.
I've been answering.
We're kind of into the networking set part of our session.
Yeah, I can do one or two quick.
Hey, Naman? Yeah, I got it.
What did Sean say?
No, you've been answering the last 8 questions, so you're good. I think you're. I'd say one of the amazing things, and which is why I decided to stick around as a general partner of SOSV for the last 6 years, is that for whatever reason, Sean decided to take up helicopter piloting after in his youth, alongside of rock bands and making movies. And one day he had forgot to, check a gauge or flip a switch or something. There's a list of 157 things that you need to check, and you forgot 157 of the 157 or something like that. And you came within 15, 20, or maybe 30 feet of smashing yourself into the ground in a nosedive in a helicopter. It's that experience of basically trying to figure out how to turn the helicopter on as you're plummeting to the ground, which is so similar to a lot of the experiences that our entrepreneurs and our founders have had and continue to have every day. Really, being there, having done that, is super valuable. So Sean, thanks for, it's evening here. I know it's early for you. We're going to do hopefully a little bit of networking or this and that. So I'm going to kick it back to Naman, our director, India, and basically head of SOS community out here in Asia, to take us to the next level. But I really appreciate you coming out virtually, spending time with our MOX and Chinaccelerator cross-border internet, and then basically capping off the 26 meetings that we just did on our Vietnam, Indonesia tour. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing with your team, your great team out there. And I look forward to getting back. The last time I was there at MOX was in February, just before, while the thing was still going on in Asia. And I look forward to being out there as soon as possible.
Thanks, Sean.